Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, and I am so excited to be here with you, literally buzzing today. Even though jet lag is absolutely kicking my ass, I have got so much to share with you and I cannot wait to dive into it. From my trip that I just came back from yesterday to the United States, to Los Angeles. I've been there all week for around 4 or 5 days, I think, being in community with incredible 6, 7 and 8 figure female business owners. I have been writing my book. I've been in the sunshine. I've been out living the most bougiest life ever. And it has been fantastic. The value that I got from that experience was incredible. And I wanted to share it with you today in an exclusive podcast episode. So this is all of my reflections, all of my observations, some of the tea, and also all of my predictions for how this will then impact online service providers in 2023. So if you're ready, let's dive in. So I've got Facebook open. So I'm also streaming this into my free group, the Aligned, Empowered and Abundant Academy. I will put the link in the show notes if you want to join me in the future. So just so you know, whenever I record these exclusive episodes, I always stream them into my group so that people can ask questions. I really love to do everything in collaboration. I'm all about the collective mind. I'm all about the feminine energy. I'm all about transparency, about being authentic, about showing the behind the scenes as a coach and mentor to women in business. So this isn't about holding back and getting the edited version of anything. This is literally like real time, real talk. Let's go. So if that's for you, then obviously keep listening. So I'll keep Facebook open. I'll circle back to see if there's any questions, but I've actually already had some in advance of this episode as well. So let's dive into it then. So on the plane, on the way back, just to set the scene initially, I went to LA for a business, not even for a business retreat. Some of the other women were there at the time for a business retreat, and I was there to essentially be in community and write my book. We stayed at a luxury hotel in Beverly Hills. We did lots of incredible things while we were there. I did 2 separate photo shoots and lots of beautiful dinners and fun days out and all of the things, as well as writing, as well as masterminding together. I got to network with, like I said, 6, 7 and 8 figure earners in business, which was really empowering, really inspiring, really motivating for me as a fellow female leader to know the potential that is out there waiting for me, but also to really hold up a mirror to a lot of things that I want to be the change for, because there was a lot of behavior that also wasn't very in alignment with my personal values and what I think should be happening in the industry. So I can kind of go through it as a brief overview. So the first day was all about getting there. And what I would say, just to kind of set the context, was that I wasn't actually meant to go. So I wasn't going to the same business retreat as the women. So really there was no need for me to go to LA, and I wasn't bothered about going, like genuinely wasn't bothered about going. Didn't really feel like it was expansion, didn't really feel like it was growth. Had kind of made my decision last year that I wasn't going to return, and that was okay, and I was content with that. But then for some reason, and I've had this quite interestingly in other conversations with other spiritual business leaders, that I just felt called. I literally woke up maybe a few weeks ago when I was thinking about writing my book, and obviously the whole concept of the book is around money mindset, it's around abundance. And I woke up in the morning a few weeks ago and just thought, you know what, I need to go to LA. Like, I really need to embody this work that I'm teaching. If I really want to be a leader and I really want to go first and inspire my clients to follow their dreams, to invest in themselves, to immerse themselves in the process and to really embody that next level self, then I would go. And so that for me became a no-brainer. I'd literally booked the flights within like an hour. So I woke up and I was like, yes, that is a hell yes. And that's one of the things for me as well that I love to cultivate with my clients, is that mindset and that energy of when it is a hell yes, ladies, we move. Like, that's when you know it is meant for you and you have to make things happen. When it's like a, yeah, that would be nice, maybe, we're good. Like, and let your no be a no and your yes be a hell fucking yes, let's go. So that's what it was for me. So I booked the trip. And then I thought, right, okay, I'm going to make sure that I write my book while I'm out here, which is essentially what I did. So the first day was all around kind of getting there, which again, met women at the airport. We really made the most of the plane trip. The airport had like the bougie celebrations. We masterminded on the plane. Then when I got there, I went straight out to the Lakers game. So this isn't about, I'm just going to ease myself in. It was, I am here for the full YOLO experience. So I'm going to go all out. Any opportunity that comes my way, I'm going. Like, this is my time. This is my vortex where I really get to experience everything that I was meant to do here. And also, when I spoke with some of the spiritual leaders, a lot of people collectively are being called to LA right now. It's like a spiritual mecca. And there were lots of people saying to me, yeah, I'm going, but I don't really know why, but I just feel called to. So I still believe that there will be other things that will transpire in the future that I will then be able to link back to that decision to go, because I definitely made some incredible connections while I was there, both UK based and in the States. So I think this will be the gift that keeps on giving with this trip. So the next day for me was actually a branding shoot. So a side note, and I may talk about it more in other podcast episodes, but I'm actually going through a bit of an evolution with my own personal brand. I think business and life are like seasons. I feel very much like I've kind of outgrown my current business model, and not my business model, sorry, but and maybe elements of it, but also like my brand, the women that I've not outgrown my clients, but I'm ready for a little bit more. I'm ready for bolder messaging. I'm ready for more impact. I'm ready to step forward more as a leader. And I needed to make sure part of that as a personal brand is making sure that everything is cohesive. So for me, some of my branding shots no longer felt aligned to me. Imagery is powerful. When you want the world to treat you in a certain way, you have to show up like you are worthy of being treated in that way. People will respond to your energy. That's like a life lesson. And some of the pictures I was pregnant in, I was very much in the season of playing small, playing safe, like kind of retreat. Obviously I was pregnant, but they just don't resonate with me anymore. So I created and curated an incredible branding shoot with a fantastic photographer, Lola, I can put her details in as well, who, looking at her work, was really like, yes, she is me. She is a much more mature photographer. She likes the depth of imagery. She's the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, really like powerful depth images, which I think is me as a person. I can do the light and fluffy, bubbly, high energy, because and people would say you're like a Jack Russell, like you've always got so much energy, but I can also do the deep dark work. There's a lot of depth, a lot of trauma, a lot of dark and shadow self to as we all do as women. So I need both sides encapsulated, because when you then work with me as a client, I balance the masculine and the feminine, the dark and the light, the supportive cheerleader and the tough love best friend. Like, I've got all of that, so my imagery needs to reflect that. So I would love to invite you, just as the first question, and there'll be lots of powerful questions that I ask you, rather than just listening to this episode passively. Like, genuinely, I'm here to serve. I want to share this knowledge with the world, because people invest thousands, I'm talking like 5-6 figures, to be at the tables with these women. It's not accessible for everybody, and nor will it ever be accessible for everybody. But I'm all about removing the barriers and pulling down the curtains and looking behind the scenes, so that everybody has a level playing field. Everybody gets to achieve what they want to achieve. And part of that is people like me being a disruptor, being a leader, being authentic, and doing that work. So people invest lots of money to be at these tables. So that was kind of my second day. Had a really fantastic dinner with some of the women as well, which was really bougie. Jennifer Aniston and Kevin Hart were in the restaurant that I was in. Like, it was amazing. The next day after that was my writing day. So this was my day by the pool to really immerse myself. And I would say that that's my first takeaway, actually, kind of moving on to that point, was I was sitting by the pool and I was trying to work on my laptop and really get into the flow of writing. But the reality was I'd already written quite a few notes on the plane, and I had the structure and the flow. And I just sat there and I thought, do you know what? Actually, I could get busy in the doing. I've said I'm going to write, so I need to write while I'm here. But actually, I think what is more important for me, and to really be in integrity with this book, is to embody the abundance of this experience, which meant essentially just sitting with my journal instead at a much more relaxed pace, just being in a rooftop pool in a luxury hotel in Beverly Hills off Rodeo Drive. You know, that for me felt more like that's what I needed to do in that moment. So I really spent like most of the day by the pool, being in receipt of incredible service, you know, eating incredible food, speaking to incredible people by the pool that I'd met, and just really living what it is that I tell my clients to embody. So that felt really, really good. I obviously did do some writing, and I did lots of journal work, and I've got the flow and the structure and a lot of the content now ready to go for my book, which is super exciting. So it still served its purpose. This isn't about being overly feminine where you don't ever get anything done. It's always about the balance of the two and going with what feels good in your energy and yourself, because it's almost like an illusion that you've got to do it within a certain frame of time. There is always more time, there is always more money, there is always more opportunities. You get to do everything at your own pace, as long as you're not self-sabotaging and holding back and playing small. So that was most of the day. And then the next day, just kind of think, what day was that? So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Saturday again was a super fun day of photo shoots, which are the more touristy spots with some of my success sisters, which was fantastic. We had so much fun. I cannot tell you, I have like literally pee your pants laughter. It was amazing. But also we understood the assignment. Like, we were all supporting each other genuinely, like tangibly. And that was one thing that I was quite good at doing as that general facilitator and leader and just person who is here for everybody. I would literally go around to each woman and say, what is your intention for this time together? What is it that you want to get to? How can I help you with that? So for some women, they wanted clarity, they wanted to do some of the masterminding, they wanted an ear to bounce ideas off of. But others, it was like, legit, I need content, I need to find ways to leverage the money that I've spent to get here. So it's like, okay, go, I got you. Let me take the pictures, let me do the behind the scenes, let me, if you're open to it, show you how I think that you can really maximize that opportunity, that moment, you know. And I had women literally, whilst we're in the bougie blow dry bar in Beverly Hills, coming outside and doing stories and talking about some of the experiences, documenting the journey as we went through it. It was fantastic. And they were making sales and getting conversions and getting inquiries and increased engagement, and just really intentional about what they were there to do. Like, we understood the assignment. So Saturday was kind of the culmination of that, I think, where it was literally like, I've got your phone, you'll go, I'll take these pictures, like really supporting each other. And then we had the most beautiful dinner in Malibu, where I was sat with 7 and 8 figure women that were really, you know, having meaningful depth, you know, deep conversations, not this surface level, how's the kids? Like, you know, there's a time for that, and that's great. But again, we all understood the assignment of why we were there. It's almost like men have that kind of power table conversations. That was our conversation at the table. It was amazing. And then Sunday again was my flight home, but no let up. Like, I literally connected with 2 incredible women that were just like me, getting out there. How do we make the most of this last trip? We also had shopping lists for our kids of things that we needed to get, and it was like, let's maximize the absolute last minutes that we can of this experience. We went to the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is really iconic. If you're not familiar with it, it's where like Marilyn Monroe stayed, like all of the old, beautiful, glamorous Hollywood. I love that. I love the 1920s. I love old school Hollywood glamour. So again, just another opportunity to really anchor in abundance. And one of the techniques that I shared with the women in the cab on the way over there, because for them, this was expansion, this was growth. It was their first trip to LA in this setting with this group of women, and just a really great thing that I'd love to share with you is whenever you are in a moment of real abundance, you can create resource anchors on your hands that essentially enable you to lock in the emotion and the energy of that moment that you can then reactivate at a later date. So when you're trying to get back into a peak state of abundance, of anything is possible, and you want to manifest and use that energy to charge positively into the things that you're trying to manifest into your life, you can actually just activate the anchor that you've already created. And this can apply for lots of different things. It can be abundance, it can be confidence, it can be self-love, it can be whatever you want. If it's something that you want to then emulate and recreate at a later date, that's a really great technique. So what we did was, obviously, as we were going around the venue and really being in the energy of this incredible luxury, essentially getting into that peak state where we were living it, breathing it, so grateful for the amazing abundance that we were receiving. What you would then do is take a finger or a knuckle on your hands, one that you're not going to inadvertently be tapping on all the time. So maybe it might be your ear, maybe it might be your shoulder, like anything that you would then tap on, and really like intentionally press down whilst you're in the peak state, while you're really in that pinch me moment. Press it down for like 15 seconds and then release, let go. And then, like I say, whenever you need that boost, whenever you need that resource, that anchor is a resource to you, you could just tap it and engage it, and it will invoke those same familiar associated like feelings and emotions that will allow you to get back into that peak state. So it's so powerful. So that's what I really encourage the women to do on the way over there. We had the most amazing day. We literally made the most of that experience. We went to Hollywood Walk of Fame. We went to a few of the shops, ticked off our list, and did all the things. And then obviously I came home. But again, very intentional about the plane ride home. It was about writing the notes for today's show. It was about really just making the most of the whole experience. So some of the other things then, kind of getting into the intention of this show. So obviously the first thing was around being the kind of woman that says yes to yourselves regardless of the ROI. So I went out there, return on investment. So I went out to LA with no expectations that I need to get clients while I'm out here. I need to make money while I'm out here. If I don't get a tangible outcome, this is not going to be worth it. That was not the assignment. It was about, for me, saying and embodying what I already know to be true and my values, that I'm fucking worth it anyway. Whether I make money or not, I deserve to be at bougie hotels in Beverly Hills. I deserve to be in community with incredible women that are here to change the world, because that's my mission too. So the more that I can be around them, the more that I can be inspired, the more that I can make these connections. It's also my duty as a coach to make sure that I'm always continually growing for my audience, for my clients, for myself. It's also my duty for my children to be the most well-rounded, nourished version of myself. Regardless of whether I make money, I didn't put any pressure on myself. And I did see a lot of women that were still very much in the lack mindset, furiously typing around the pool, trying to, like, on their stories, lives every minute, unable to really appreciate and honor the moment that they were in, really unable to just kind of take a moment because they've done the work and they deserve to, really putting themselves under pressure. And I think there is a balance, don't get me wrong, between the women who are more motivated and activated by their work. I'm a manifesting generator. Like, my work brings me life, gives me energy. It doesn't feel like work. I've intentionally created it that way. And obviously, if that's something that interests you, I have to say I've got my masterclass series where I'll be sharing how I essentially went away with minimal touch points in my business that enabled me to still sell and make money while I was there, but without any pressure to do that. That just happened anyway, because I'm living my best life and I'm showing up with great energy. And embodying and living the values that I tell my clients to do. I'm in integrity. So inevitably, I'm going to be calling in women that want that approach for themselves in their business and from a coach and mentor. So obviously, if you want to join me on those masterclass, I'll be going through everything that you need to know about how to leverage your time, your energy, and your money over the next 90 days, starting from April, so that you can then have a summer of freedom as well. But yeah, so I think there's a difference between like being super motivated, super inspired and activated, and you can't help but work when you're there, to I'm so scared that if I take 5 days off my socials, I'm going to be missing opportunities to sell and I need the money. You know, I think there's that fine line, and you'll know what that is for you. But that to me felt incredibly sad, seeing those women that were still in that scarcity mindset that, I need to do all the things. Some other things that I wanted to share was obviously about being in abundance and embodying your next level self is far more important than being busy and doing the work. Make the most of being all right. Okay, so I'm going to just go through my list. So the next thing was around every new level, there's a new devil. Like it was the same in LA last year, same in this year. No matter how successful you get, you are always going to get resistance when it comes to your mindset, because every time you push the boundaries and move closer to your next edge, of what is familiar and what is safe and what you've created before, you are always going to get resistance to it. It's neuroscience, it's inevitable, it's the primary function of your brain to keep you safe. So all of that is intentional, but it's about understanding that. It's about holding up the mirror to, okay, this is why I'm getting this resistance. It's just because I'm about to embark on something new. That's okay. Not being in a judgment of yourself, like, oh, why can't I wish I could be like you? Why can't I get this? Like there was a lot of that language going on where it was, you know, in certain places anyway, but it was like some women hadn't accepted that if you're getting resistance, that's okay. That means you're ready. That means you are moving into new uncharted territories. And you can decide whether that is fearful and scary and terrifying, and now you're not going to do it, or whether that gets to be exciting, expansive, great feedback that you're about to do something new. But it's also understanding that your mentorship may change at that point as well. So we had lots of conversations around like the mentorship journey and where we had invested in mentors previously and what we were looking for experiences. So definitely there's been seasons in my business where I have needed people to essentially hold my hand and tell me what it is I need to do, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's been seasons for that where I've been looking for mentors who are maybe further in their journey, and I've definitely got clients who are at different seasons of business. For some of them, it is more of the mentorship role where it's like, girl, you've missed this, girl, let me help you with this, where it is like a second pair of eyes in your business, where it's making sure that you're not leaving money on the table, where it is tightening up processes and improving customer journeys, where it is getting more intentional with your brand, where it's all of those great things, identifying opportunities to scale. But then I've got other clients that are actually more seasoned, or equally, you know, they've cracked it, they're good, they're in their flow, they know what it is they want, but perhaps they still want some element of support, community, more higher level strategies that don't need the hand-holding or the mentorship in the same way, but they want depth of conversations. Like they're not looking for ROIs on their investment. I've got women that I work with that don't care if they make any extra money. I mean, they're going to, obviously, but that's not their primary objective. They're not driven by the money anymore. They just want to have deep conversations. They want deep connection from a mentor. They want somebody who can still help them to scale, but equally, you know, hold up the mirror, help them more with their circling back on some of the trauma, some of the mindset blocks, some of the things that they perhaps have pushed through to get where they've got, but now they're like, actually, got to be a better way. For some women, it's more about time freedom. You know, they don't care about the money anymore. They actually care more about the quality of life, and they want to scale themselves out of their business. So they've got more time, so they can pursue more passion, so they can do more things. One of which is obviously, you know, spending time with family and traveling and living their best life without compromising on their income. So I think that's what we all reflected on, that for some of the women in that environment and in that container, they are still looking for that high touch directorship, mentorship, whereas for some of the women it was like, actually I just want to be in community. I just want to, for some women, I just want to have bougie experiences. I want to have an excuse to go to LA, you know. So it was understanding that actually it's okay, there is somebody for every point in their journey, but it's about being clear on those expectations, particularly your role as a mentor and as a facilitator. Like in my mastermind, I'm very clear about, if you come into this world, it's a hybrid. Like you're going to get the hand holding, obviously not as close as the one-to-one clients that I have, because that's the space and energy that I reserve for them, but equally I'm going to be on calls every week. I'm going to bring in guest experts. I'm going to be adding resources. I'm going to be evolving my programs, and you get to all of the behind the scenes. You get everything. I'm not, you only get this, but over here, because you've only invested this, and over here you get this. It's like, no, like if you're in the mastermind or in my high ticket programs, that is what you are getting. You're getting all the things, you know? So that's, but it's about being clear. If somebody comes into that and thinks they're going to get me on Voxer and every day, no, it's not. That's what's reserved for my one-to-one. So I'm very clear about that. So there's no misalignment. People understand the assignment. They know what they're getting. So again, maybe an opportunity for you where you have perhaps not managed expectations, and you've got clients that are draining you, that are expecting too much, but haven't paid for the programs that are reserved for that energy level. You know, maybe it's an opportunity to tighten up your sales pages or your own personal boundaries, so you're not constantly over delivering in a way that then means that you're never going to be able to scale. It's going to compromise your mission. I'd love for you to kind of have a moment to reflect on that. Am I managing people's expectations? Am I facilitating the energy of the containers that I'm creating in a way that is commensurate with the price that I'm charging and the space that I'm creating to hold it? Yeah, so I think I've covered off some of these, but community is obviously everything, not only in terms of having somebody to mastermind off, having some cheerleading and support, but also making it more fun. The conversations that we had are so much different. If you're using your partners, your friends, your parents, your children as your journals, as your business partner, and you're downloading onto them, guess what? People only know what they know. They're not going to be able to give you any meaningful conversations, any insights, any experiences, any real world value that you can then go away and implement into your business, that you can take inspiration from. You can't do any of those things. They don't know what the, you know, the context of your industry or any of those things, and the nuances of your audience. That's community is where you can get that from, and also mentorship. So that for me equally was a missing part for me in business for so long, where I was on my own doing my own damn thing. It was great, but nothing like being in community and making the whole process more fun. The next thing was obviously around there is no one size fits all approach to business. A lot of women were square pegs, in my opinion, in round holes, trying to emulate what they thought success was. You know, well, if I do my launch in this way, then obviously I'm going to get her results, not understanding that the reason that that woman gets those results is because they are in their element. They love it. They are literally showing up with the best energy. That is what converts their audience, not the fact that they've got a 3-part funnel system, not the fact that they are doing live launches or free masterclasses or video series or any of those things. It is because that is a woman who is living her best life, that is building her business in alignment with her natural strengths and her energy types, who is obsessed with what she does. That is why she's converting. You can do that version of you a million other ways. I've got clients who will never live launch because they hate it. Okay, they don't need to. They don't need to. They can be everything we do typically when you work with me, because I'm all about sustainable business practices, is all about evergreen sales funnels. So you can sell every day without live launching. You don't need to worry about any of those things. And there is a way out there for you to live your best life and run your business in a way that actually feels really good. You know, I'm obsessed with every part of my business. I actually find it very hard to delegate for that reason, because I love it. You know, it is entirely created around me and what feels good. There is not one part of my business that I have to suffer through, that I have to do because I feel like I should, or because other people are doing it. Even my containers aren't conventional. They're not how other business coaches would do it. They're not how other money mindset coaches would do it. I do whatever the hell I want. I talk about whatever the hell I want, and I serve my clients however the hell I want. Now, there'll be elements that are obviously in service of my clients, but equally, I know there are millions of female entrepreneurs. So not everybody needs to work with me personally. Not everybody will want to go as quick as I do. Not everybody will want to do all of the things that I do. Not everybody will want the hybrid method of the mentorship and the coaching that I do. Not everybody will want to do the deep dive mindset. You know, they don't care. Not everybody is spiritual like me and loves the energy and all of the, you know, other side of it behind me. But that's me. So as long as I show up in integrity, in my own true self, I'm only going to call in the women that are my women, you know? So that's what I would love for you as well. Look at your business practices and your week. Look at how you've scheduled your week this week. Is everything that you're doing really keeping you in your zone of genius, in your element? Are you supported in the right places? Are you investing in the right places? Or are you holding back? Are you playing small? Are you running your business for somebody else? Are you doing it because this one does it like this and that's what emulates success, but then you're not having the results, so then you're feeling like it's you? Like, this is the thing. So that's what I realized. A lot of the women, when I would then offer an alternative view, like, actually, do you need to do that? Like, what about if you did this instead? Would that feel better? They were like, well, yeah, but you know, nobody's going to buy like that. And I'm like, well, if you believe that nobody will buy, then absolutely that belief will be confirmed to you, because your reality is created by your personality and your internal belief system. So if you believe that people will not buy in that way, guess what? That will be what's reflected back to you in your reality. If you believe that it's possible, then other people will resonate with that energy and you will be able to sell from that place. And chances are, if it's done in a way that's sustainable and scalable, you're going to make your 7 figures anyway. So that was really just reconfirmed to me what I already knew about. There are so many different ways to run your business, and there is no one size fits all. So do not conform to that pressure to be like everybody else. If anything, that's the quickest way to fail in your business, is by being vanilla, by being generic, by being like everybody else. The more that you own your story, the more that you own yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the more you are truly irreplaceable. There was a lot of conversations around so and so stole my content and and I'm like, who cares? Because at the end of the day, none of us invented marketing. None of us invented money mindset. None of us invented self-love and empowerment and other things. All we are doing is bringing our story to the table. We are bringing our connections, our passion, our take, our spin on this work. And for the right person, that is going to be exactly what they need, and that's okay, you know? So I think it's also taking ego out of it a little bit as well, just saying. Make the most of every opportunity now. Obviously, that's what I embodied while I was there. Don't be afraid. Oh, but equally, don't be afraid to be busy if what you're doing is high value, or planting seeds further down the line. So it was about having that balance. Like, if you're showing up because you're inspired, you're activated, you feel good doing it, and it feels like, I really want to ride this energy. That is amazing. I'm absolutely here for it. It's just when it's more like fear-based, validating, busy work, it makes us feel important. It makes us feel useful. It makes us feel in control. It makes us feel like we're doing stuff. When you catch yourself in those moments, that's when it's toxic. That's when you should really have a word with yourself. There were a lot of things that I would say as well. So just a few more things to kind of wrap up. So there was a lot of women that were focused on growing their businesses, but not scaling their businesses. They did not understand the difference. So it was a case of adding in more programs, adding in more funnels, adding in more commitments, like more price points, more marketing strategies, rather than focusing on how do I do less things with more potency, with more activation, with more energy, with more value, that are going to give me the same outcome, but will preserve my energy and make this sustainable, and mean that I don't have to, like I say, ground myself in busy work because it validates me. You really need to focus on, how do I scale myself out of my business, where my business runs, whether I am in it or not in it, whether I'm here or not here. I've got such a credible personal brand. I've got so much incredible value and goodwill in my audience that I could turn up tomorrow and sell a program or an offer, and people are ready to buy because they already know me, they already like me, they already trust me, they already see me as an authority, they know what I can do, they love my energy. So actually, a few intentional activities is going to push the needle further. And I'm supported in all areas. So this doesn't mean then that if I take on those clients, I've got to do more work. It's going to push me further and get me the same result, and will still lead to growth without killing me, essentially. Because otherwise what you do is end up with one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. And that's exhausting place to be, because then you become the block to your own success. And again, a lot of the more established business owners, like, that was their challenge. How do I remove myself from my business? Because now that I've seen that's out there, the market, I understand my clients better, I've got great personal brand and all of the things, I want to do more. Like, I'm activated, I want to do more, but I'm looking at my current business model and the thought of doing more exhausts me. And I've got no idea how that would practically work. Like, so the 7 and 8 figure business owners were very much already, like me, bought into the multiple revenue streams. Like, they had different businesses, they had lots of things going on, because they're high achieving women, right? And they're used to seeing an opportunity and moving very quickly to make money on it. So they were now like, about that, how do I now scale this so I can continue to grow all of these things, but without killing myself? So that was where I was then able to step in as a business growth strategist and really help them to get some practical, tangible steps that they could literally go away and execute the next day, that would help them to do that. So, and that's what I think women need to be focusing more on as they're looking at, you know, growing. It's, I don't need to look at growing my business, how do I scale my business instead? So I would love for you to, again, as a reflection point, just look at your business model and look at your plans for this year. Does all of it, if you want to bring in more income, require you working more hours, require you doing more things? If so, you need a reframe. You need to go back and start looking at more strategy to scale rather than grow. The next thing was obviously money is no big thing, as it was last year. The women that already have money and already, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, already confirmed to me as a money mindset coach. Same last year, same theme this year. Once you get to a certain point of income and your basic human needs are already met, your safety, your bouginess, no longer a motivator, it's neutral. And that is how you truly then manage to not only make money, but retain the money and hold the wealth. That is the biggest thing that I see, is that women start to self-sabotage. They feel unworthy. It's why I've got my Millionaire Mindset Bootcamp, because it supports you not only in how to understand how to create more wealth in the first place, but how to hold it. And that's a big missing piece for a lot of money mindset coaches. They don't focus on that. They don't focus on the continual work that needs to happen to increase your level of abundance, your worthiness, your capacity to hold and maximize wealth. So that was, again, just another point reaffirmed this year. On a personal note, there was a lot of egos, which is inevitable in any situation. It's inevitable because people are acting from a place of fear. When you're coming from a place of ego and not soul, it's because there's parts of you that are still unresolved and still feel like you need to be the loudest person in the room. You need to be seen, you need to be heard. You've got to tell everybody what you're doing and how much money you're making, because you need to build that authority and you need people to like you. That work is like, girl, do the deep dive mindset work. Like, you're worthy. Literally, I wanted to go around to some people and be like, I'm sorry if your parents didn't make you feel seen or validated. Like, you are worthy just as you are. You know, you don't need anybody else but you. That was something that's like just so apparent to me because of the work that I've done, and because of the modalities that I have, that it's like some people were being triggered by it. And I was like, no, it's not their fault. Everybody is doing the best with what they have available to them. Not everybody is like a bad person if they act in ways that don't feel good to you. It's they're doing the best with what they have available to them, and not everybody has the same level of awareness and has done the same level of mindset work that others have, but equally that allows me to make sure that I am never putting people on a pedestal, even with my mentors and coaches who are perhaps further on in their business journey than me, or have achieved a higher level of success than me, or have experience and expertise in other areas to me. They are no better than me. They are just further on in their journey than me. They've taken a different path. They've got a different, I can learn from them. I can be supported by them. I can be held by them. But ultimately, they are still human. They are still people. They are not gods. They are not any better or more deserving or more any of the things than me because they make more money, you know? It's a transactional arrangement. I'm not looking at them in any way. And I think there was a temptation as well for some women to be like, this person should be doing this thing, they should be acting in this way, they should be valuing this thing, they should be and it's like, we're all just people, right? If you try and hold people up to such a high pedestal, you're always going to be disappointed because nobody can live up to your expectations. It's about understanding that we are all essentially flawed humans that are having a human experience, learning and evolving as we go, making mistakes, offending people, upsetting people, not doing the right thing. Like, but we're all just learning and doing the best we have with what we have available. If you can instead stop holding people to this incredible like benchmark that is impossible for anybody else outside of you to meet, I think, and give them compassion instead and understanding, and understand that you don't need anybody outside of you to validate you. You don't need people to love you. You don't need people to think, to pour into you because you're less than. Everything else is a bonus. And I think that's one thing that I have always managed to create, is this inner self-worthiness where I am good. And I was saying this to one of the women, even my children are going to outgrow me and leave me at some point. I am not hanging on to my kids out of desperation that they can't leave me, as much as I might joke about it. And I might say to them, like, stay with mummy forever. The reality is, if my children become resilient, determined, and self-assured individuals that then mean that they feel confident enough to go off and forge their own path in this world, I have done my job as a mother. I have nurtured them to the point where they feel unstoppable and they don't need me. That's my whole intention. That's the assignment for me as a parent. It is creating their individual personalities and not even imposing my will on them, really. You know, we might have a few boundaries and schedules and those sorts of things and non-negotiables as a family in terms of values, but everything else is like, they're their own guides, you know. And that might seem a bit woo-woo and a bit non-committal and a bit, you know, cop out for some mothers who are overly controlling and, you know, what their view of what motherhood looks like, and that is their right. That's absolutely fine. That's why my children were sent to me. I truly believe that the universe sends you the kids that were meant to be yours. They chose me as much as I chose them. And I often say to this, like, thank you for choosing me as your mum. And I have been tested with my children, their personalities. I mean, I went into motherhood very much from like, my kids are going to go to university. My kids are going to have the best of everything. My kids are going to travel the world. They're going to want this. Well, the reality is, one of my daughter hates to leave the house. She is the biggest introvert and she doesn't do people. You know, my kids are going to do all the activities and have all the opportunities. She doesn't want any of that. And that's absolutely fine. That was my biggest learning curve, that actually I cannot make her somebody she's not. Fundamentally, she came into this world with her own assignment and her own personality and her own joy and her own things. And that's okay. It's not for me to try and make her somebody she's not. It's not for me to try and change what has been innate in her since she was 2 years old. You know, that I can't do that. So I understand the assignment now is for me to instead nurture her in a way that she is happy to go out and forge her own path in this world, and she will outgrow me. So therefore, like I say, I don't put pressure on other people to be my everything, because partners, like family, friendships, kids, I'm my everything, and I only have me. So I best be my own friend, and I best be honoring my inner child who had these big dreams, but also my future self who is waiting for this version of me now, right now, to do the work needed to get to the future self. You know, all I've got is myself. And I think that is just such a powerful lesson as women that we all really need to hear. We need to understand and we need to live it. So that's kind of a side note from me, just as an observation. And then in terms of like trends of what's coming up, if you're an online service provider in 2023, I think it is, again, as I said, really last year, but it was just, again, reconfirming, people are more discerning with their investments now. People have been around the block. They've invested in some two-bob, BS, fluffy programs that didn't deliver anything apart from a nice income for the people that created it. Reputation is everything. So don't burn people on your way up as you're ascending. Remember the people that were there at the bottom, because, girl, everybody talks. That's what I realized as well. There are some big name players that not a lot of people had nice things to say to them. Their time will come where they have burnt through their audience and they've got no goodwill to fall back on. People will start to distance and disassociate themselves from them. So they might have big affiliate launches now, but they won't in the future. And I think that is just a life lesson. Like my mum always said to me, never be the girl that you walk into a room and people are talking to you about. And I think she meant about boys actually, but you know, it can be applied to anything in life. And that really stuck with me, that yeah, not in a negative way. Like, you can talk about me maybe because I trigger you, maybe because I inspire you, maybe because, you know, I'm too much. Like, I'm happy to be talked about in those circles, but not because she doesn't deliver, she doesn't care about her clients, she's too Bob, like that would really hurt my soul. So I think there's going to be a greater emphasis on coaches and mentors being accountable to some sort of tangible outcome as well as the intangible, but equally it's about owning that. So as in, not everything is tangible, not everything has to have an ROI, return on investment. And if you are only going into coaching and mentorship because you're looking for shortcuts, hacks, and some sort of magic solution, you're going to be disappointed, because nobody is perfect. It goes back to what I said about the pedestal. People can tell you what has worked for them in the past. They can give you the benefits of their experience. That's what I do with my clients. But ultimately, like, you will know your audience better. I always like to say, a coach is the guide, not the guru. They are your guide. They will help you in bringing out the best of you, of pulling out of you the bits that you already know, and putting you in good faith and reinforcing your confidence, getting that unfuckable with the energy where you are sure, that clarity, that yep, this is it. But ultimately it's you that needs to go out and do the thing. And the more that we do that, the better, because people are really looking for originality, authenticity. They're going to be more discerning in what they're investing in. We need to get more comfortable with finding our groove and where we feel safe in putting our energy. So like I say, I've got clients that hate to be on cameras. That's the challenge, because obviously the world is moving towards more video messaging and more video series, and so people can really get a sense of who you are and your energy. But it doesn't have to be video. She has a really incredible podcast. She has really insightful copy and blogs and newsletters that she nurtures that really bring out her personality. So she's at no detriment, because we found a workaround. So it's about, again, just being in integrity with you, what feels good to you, so it's sustainable. And equally, it's about creating wealth outside of your business. Again, why in my mastermind, I really encourage the women in bringing guest experts that support them to add additional revenue streams, that it supports them in creating wealth outside of their businesses. Because let me tell you, when you have other options, you create a whole different set of choices. And that's truly when you are empowered, in my opinion. When you are not having to work with clients that you don't really want to work with because you need the money, when you're not having to affiliate with people because they've got visibility but you don't really agree with them as a coach or as a person, you're not really in integrity with their values. So it's about really owning your space. That is only going to grow this year. People are moving away from cheesy ads and generic sales pages and funnels that feel inauthentic. Free challenges, people know they're going to be sold to. Stop doing it. It's a waste of your energy. And yeah, I think equally with all of that in mind, if you are going to be needing to be serving at a higher level and being more of a leader, being more authentic, more in integrity, it's about making sure that you are being compensated accordingly for that additional energy and those results. So this is why it takes just as much time and energy to sell low ticket as it does high. This is your opportunity to really level up the value and being of value to your audience, so that you can charge the prices that are meant for that, like, so that you're being compensated massively and appropriately for the things that you're bringing to the table, the value that you're bringing to the table. So amazing. I hope that that's kind of it. That's all of my reflections. I hope that you've enjoyed them. Hopefully lots of things to think about and questions to go away and ask yourself this year. Hopefully you can see the value of why, and also the goodness that I have now poured into my book. I cannot wait for that. So it will be the gift that keeps on giving. It always is. I always say coaching and mentorship is the gift that keeps on giving. As much as you might get strategy and a result now, having that awareness, seeing things in a different way, having a different perspective, testing the edges and the boundaries of what you are capable of, and proving to yourself that you are able to do it with the support of a coach and mentorship is going to pay you now and in the future. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments, wherever you are consuming this. It could be on YouTube, on my podcast, or in my group, or even in my newsletter. Let me know, ladies, what is the feedback, because I would absolutely love to know what your key takeaways are. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode.
thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.